Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Emerging Leaders podcast. I'm Jesus, Program Manager at the International Youth Foundation and proud member of the Emerging Leaders Group. Today, in honor of International Youth Day, we're thrilled to welcome a very special guest, Christina Sass, the new president and CEO of the International Youth Foundation. Christina is a lifelong champion of youth and a fierce advocate for women and diverse leaders across the globe. With a wealth of experience in global development and youth employment, Christina has co-founded Andela, served as the program director at the Clinton Global Initiative, and provided a strategic counsel to the MasterCard Foundation, among many other impressive roles. Christina, thank you so much for joining us today. Let's start by having you tell us a bit about yourself and your journey so far that led you to this point.
Well, Jesus, it's such a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be on the podcast with you, and thank you so much for having me. So, I'll give you this kind of short version of my career path, and then we can jump in any one point. But really, it's that I started out entirely focused on really quality education. My father was an immigrant to the United States. He was very focused for me and my brother on quality education that sort of unlocks a career path or that can unlock both your passions, but also your ability to provide for yourself, to be resilient no matter what comes. That was very much his life story, and it was so important to him that I really set out on a career path to go and work in my home state of Georgia, but also internationally on really quality education that sort of unlocked the potential of youth. Then I went out and did that in Clark County, which is one of the most perniciously poor parts of the globe of the U.S. South. And just learned a lot about community development there and some of the intractable issues. And then I worked in southeastern China. I worked in the Middle East, in Palestine, and also in Kenya. And over about a 5 to 6 year period, I dramatically changed my role or my viewpoint from, hey, it's that we need quality education to we must connect education and jobs. And that can be through formal education or informal. It really widened the aperture for me to what is really, really missing we are failing young people globally to have a merit-based system to move them into global employment. And that really, just after seeing it, after feeling it, after working with and conversations with hundreds, eventually thousands of young people, this was so clear to me that this was my issue, is like really scalable youth employment that gets young people that first job that leads to a whole career path. And so I really reshaped my entire career path around that and went back to grad school, focusing on youth employment.
Thanks, Christina. That's truly inspiring. I love that your driving force is unlock the potential of youth because that's just what we do at IYF. So now, as the new CEO of IYF, what drew you to this role and what excites you the most about leading the organization?
Yeah. So when I heard that this role was open, it really was dramatically different to me than many other things that I have been offered over the years because of the focus on youth employment and unlocking the potential. Even just the words, it sings to me in a way that a million other things do not. Like, this is my issue area. I got very lucky through my work at MasterCard Foundation. I got to meet the former CEO and president 2 presidents ago, Bill Reese, and I followed the progress. I knew of the incredible work of IYF for many, many years. And thus, when the opportunity came about, it really did make me just sit up and pay attention in a way that that many other things had not, because it's so specific to youth and to youth employment and unlocking the potential of youth. So that's what originally drew me to it. And I mean, I'm genuinely so excited about many things, but I think what excites me the most is the team. the IYF team. So it's truly one of life's great joys to work on something where the issue area feels bigger than any one individual, where the issue area itself is just bigger than you and you feel like you are truly part of a team that's making a difference. I feel very lucky to have had that feeling in life, and I very much feel that at IYF, that we orient to this goal in an extremely powerful way, and thus are willing to grow ourselves, stretch ourselves to be able to meet the moment for young people. So the expertise, the geographical expertise, the technical expertise, the attention to what truly works and sharing information about what truly works, like so many people orient to this powerful goal in the same way. That's what I'm most excited about at IYF.
Perfect. That's amazing. And of course that we are very lucky to have you on board. And as you mentioned before, you have an extensive background in global development and youth employment. So what do you believe are the biggest challenges facing youth today, and how do you envision IYF addressing these challenges?
Yeah. So what I hear and feel and have really seen is that we still at the systems level, still educators say these young people are ready for the workforce, and still most employers that youth are genuinely excited about would jump at the chance to work or build require multiple years of experience. The the real, like, the market around job, the initial job creation for young people is just still broken. And there's like lots of things that are broken about it, that one, both sides feels, oh, they're unprepared or they are prepared and are not talking, really are not talking industry specific standards for what young people need. But if I could go even a level deeper, I think that the incentives around large education systems and the incentives around business, like, they just don't match. And what happens is that when we move into jobs, it's just not merit based. And it's hard for it to be merit based. It's hard to categorize specific skill sets and it's hard to do that when you're at the beginning of your career, but it's not impossible. And we're getting a lot better at it. I do believe that one of the really exciting possibilities of AI is being able to say, hey, you have these patterns in your, in school that you've had, or in sports that you've played, or languages that you've learned, or other activities that you've done. Have you thought about this as a career path? There's a reason that you might be, but we still have to put, in an utterly not merit-based system, how do we try to categorize, and how do we try to make it much more merit-based so that young people have, are truly in career paths that make sense to them. So that's one of the biggest. It's still that disconnect to your first job. And then once, most people are kind of on a path, it is much easier to move up than to make the first jump to something that you really burn for, that's a good fit for you. So there's lots of, I think there are lots of other challenges, but that's one of the biggest ones that I've seen for youth. I see IYF meeting this moment all over the place in, designing programs with young people at the heart of it. Like, we're not waiting until we have a fully baked idea to say, does this resonate with you all? No, like, from the very beginning in the design phase, creating the ecosystem around young people. And so this is my personal position. It's not the position of IYF, but your first job, you may hate it. You may not love it at all, but you can love what it gives you. It then gives you the freedom, freedom to take the night class that you want, to take that, step up and that level up. So I see us, where there's a lot of otherwise training or things that doesn't result in a job, or, the first job, but then so what? I see us really answering the whole so what. It's not just the job, it's how does the job unleash the potential? It's not just the training, but how does the training really unleash the potential? So all that to say, I see us like completing the whole cycle of learning that results in the unlocking of potential for young people.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's clear that the challenges young people face nowadays are incredibly diverse and impact us on multiple levels across the board. So, this underscores the critical need for capable leaders worldwide who can propose innovative solutions that truly put youth in the center. Now, Christina, you've worked in various regions around the world, including Africa, the Middle East, and beyond. Can you share an impactful moment or project related to youth empowerment that has shaped your approach to leadership and advocacy?
So many, so many. Let me just think for a moment about one, if I can think of like one particular moment. Um, so I did have really an incredible experience in Southeast Asia, in the Middle East, and then of course across the continent of Africa. So I'll give an example. I'll give one example from Andela that has just stayed with me that has really shaped a lot of my ideas around why just youth engagement. I think it's fair. It's a fair question to ask. Hey, if we have a bunch of technical experts, why does this need to be involved? So we had an office in Lagos, Nigeria, and we were really considering where to go next. And we could make the case on all kinds of things. Where's a good business environment, a friendly business environment that might welcome us? Where's really good math and science, or these things that we know make a good software developer? Andela focuses on tech talent. And where's there just, the highest youth population? Like there were a lot of different ways that we could have thought about that decision. But what we did was we put it to young technologists themselves, and we said, hey, look, we are interested in coming to your country. We'd like to put out an application and see how you respond. And we will, essentially we will go and do real due diligence in the place that gets the most applications and the most interest. And that place was Kenya. And we got about 10 to 1 the number of applications there than anywhere else. And it was the case. What we experienced there was like a true welcoming of open arms. But when we read the market, we were like, it's sort of a crowded space compared to others. I don't know how we would be received there. But then we listened. We listened to these young people that said, we absolutely want you to come here. And if you come here, we will apply and we'll give it our all. And we had unbelievable amounts of outpouring of interest and energy, and people opening their doors to us, and incredible applications. And our strong takeaway from that was like, you follow the talent, you follow the voices of those young people. and that's what we did. We recreated that. We used that many times over to make big decisions, like what is the market telling us? And in this powerful way, young people across the continent were speaking to us.
Yeah, that's a powerful story. Thank you very much for sharing, Christina. So, as you mentioned, as someone who has co-founded Andela and served in numerous leadership roles, what advice would you give to young leaders, especially women, who aspire to make a difference and achieve top positions in the future?
So I think I tell people that are building their career path to really cultivate mentors, do things along the way to help you get better at understanding yourself. So I have many, many takeaways from my time at Andela, but wearing the co-founder and COO and then later president hat, the hardest work to be done was really on me and how I was limiting my team when I bumped up against something where I was no longer an expert or it exceeded what I had done. People do really different things in that moment. But through coaching, through great mentorship, I have learned to sort of radically accept when I don't know the answer to something, when I need to seek help, when I need to find someone, a truly global expert that can answer that for me, and developing a clear picture of what excellence looks like in a different domain where I'm not an expert. So for young women, there are less people there's less women in top leadership positions. Thus, there's less mentors. We know that problem of women in leadership is truly systemic. So at IYF, just like at Andela, we will be a magnet where incredible women want to come and want to have true leadership positions, and we will be loud about that. Yes, we want, when it's the case when we can make the case with data that women across the board are better at doing something than their male colleagues, we're going to be clear about it. It's not just that we want applicants, it's that we have evidence that there are, things that are just going to be better, or where women are going to be stronger. So with software developers, there was very clear, and some of the soft skills needed to be excellent at the job. Our women candidates outperformed. And so we were telling that to young women all the time and saying, hey, we want you to apply. We are telling the women in our company to make time to mentor, because we know that there's, not enough mentors out there, and we want it to be a part of what everyone is doing. So we also had really leaders at every level. You have to have from the board, kind of at every single level. It's one of the things that really impressed me about IYF as well, diversity, and women at all leaders. So those are some of the things that I would say is, you are absolutely never going to be perfect at everything. It's very easy to just say, oh, then I'm not qualified. When you realize you're not perfect at everything, that's when I would say, great, now you need to ask for help and know which lane is your lane. And when you're in your lane, you are the boss, and you do have a stronger picture of what excellence look like, and you should lead. And then in those areas that you're not, you have to design well around yourself. The faster you accept that, and then surround yourself with extraordinary experts to not be thrown, but to always seek to hire people that are smarter than you outside of your domain area, to really look at that as the way to lead. Those are some of the pieces of advice I would give to young women.
Yeah, thanks a lot. That's a great piece of advice, actually, and it's impressive to see the importance of mentorship during our journey as professionals, and its part in empowering your young leaders, especially women. So thanks a lot for sharing. And finally, as we celebrate International Youth Day, theme from clicks to progress, youth digital pathways for sustainable development, what message do you have for the young listening today and for those who are working to empower them?
I love this theme for International Youth Day. I think we did have this very flawed idea of how the internet would help all kinds of things, but it would help international education. And in some real ways, it's not lived up to that. And it is we desperately need to move from clicks to real progress. So I do think there are unbelievable pathways to success, digital pathways. And it really is finding ways to cultivate your talent and give you more and more opportunities to grow, more and more opportunities to use that digital skill set and to put it in as real a client situation as possible, and then as fast as you can in a client situation. Luckily, I think there's a few, not many, but there's a few silver linings of the COVID-19 pandemic. But one of them is that the world woke up to international talent, and we know the large majority of that international talent is youth. And so when we all thought of digital skills, you would really think of okay, well, I want to hire a person with these digital skills, but I want to hire them down the street from me, and I expect them to be in this office. And now the world has really said, okay, not the digital skill that's closest to me, but who is best for that digital skill. So we are still honing those tools, but I think we're about to see in the next 5-10 years an unbelievable amount of specialization on how to get international youth talent those skills, how to qualify those skills, how to market those skills to the right hiring manager. And so I'm just very excited about this theme. We need to move to specific progress. We need to move to a world where we're thinking about AI to move every single person in their career path up, not to take away jobs.
I totally agree. Embracing youth digital pathways from clicks to progress is crucial for sustainable development. And by empowering young people with digital skills and opportunities, we not only foster their personal growth, but also pave the way for a more sustainable and inclusive future globally. So, Christina, before we wrap up, let's do a quick fire round. Just answer the first thing that comes to your mind. Ready?
Ready.
Nice. What's your favorite book or movie that has inspired you?
Recently, I am still obsessed with the movie Black Panther. That sounds so cheesy. I don't know how it sounds, but the stories we tell ourselves, the stories we grow up with really matter. And I absolutely love that film. I'm so inspired by the concept of Wakanda, and that is the concept that people should hold of the continent of Africa. It's very much mine. And so that is a movie that genuinely has inspired me recently that I love. I watch it like once a quarter. My husband's like, not again with Black Panther. I'm like, but I love it.
It is an amazing movie indeed. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Well, these days I'm living in a world of pretend with my beautiful 3.5-year-old daughter, Georgia. Sometimes we're Harry Potter and Hermione. Sometimes we're Luke and Leia from Star Wars. Sometimes we're magical unicorns. But that is something I enjoy recently.
We love Harry Potter here. If you could visit any place in the world, where would it be and why?
If I could visit any place, it would be a World Cup final championship game. I absolutely love the spirit of the World Cup and what it embodies, which is that talent is genuinely equally distributed, and it creates a literal level playing field for talent all over the world. And I absolutely love that spirit. So whenever, wherever, but it would be a World Cup championship game.
Thanks. And last but not least, what's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
So the best piece of advice I've ever received is find purpose, the means will follow. That's Gandhi. And when I read that, I just wept, and it's guided my entire career path, that to not try and force myself, but to pay attention to the things that make me so inspired and that keep me up at night. It's that purpose that really drives us to be extraordinary. And so that has been a lifelong guiding principle.
Christina, it has been an absolute pleasure having you on the Emerging Leaders podcast. Your insights and experience are truly inspiring, and we're excited to see how you will lead IYF to new heights. As we celebrate International Youth Day on August 12th, we recognize the pivotal role of digital innovation in advancing sustainable development goals. At IYF, empowering young people through digital literacy and innovation is at the core of our mission. By harnessing technology, we can create sustainable solutions to the world's more pressing challenges and ensure a brighter future for generations to come. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories and leadership insights in our next episode of the Emerging Leaders podcast. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Jesus. This is really a pleasure and an honor. Thank you for having me.